Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Meydan Racecourse here on Saturday. It is the 25th of March 2023. It's Dubai World Cup night from Meydan, and I'm going to look at all the races on the program, including the World Cup. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKit5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Remember to join me next week for the opening of the British Flat season from Doncaster next Saturday, and also next Saturday for my Florida Derby from Gulfstream. But we have 9 races to look at on the program. Let's start off with the first race from Meydan, which is the Dubai Kahayla Classic. It's a grade 1 race for the purebred Arabian horses, going for $1 million purse, race for 5-year-olds and upwards. We have a field here of 14 horses entered to go the 2,000-meter journey or mile and a quarter on the dirt course. As a top selection, I'm going to take the 5-horse first class. Let's go 579 in your TriCast trifecta. 579 TriCast trifecta, top selection of 5-horse first class. The 6-year-old gelding here, Maxime Guillon, comes in from France to ride this horse. The horse's most recent outing came in Qatar at Doha, 18th of February, a mile and a half in the local Group 1 HH Mayor Sword Stakes, and he finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths, and I don't think he was really staying the extra 2 furlongs to the mile and a half. He settled well early on, but he just needed that extra turn of foot, which he didn't have. Cutting back to a mile and a quarter, coming to dirt where he's run not half bad in the past. It's been a few and far between his dirt efforts, but, I'm going to give him a shot here today with the cutback and trip, but, he just wasn't staying last time out. 2 back, he ran at Abu Dhabi on the 4th of December, mile 3/8 in a local Group 1, and he won by a length that day, and he sat back early. He slowly moved his way up, and when he got the turn of foot, he took off clear. That was a very good race return to the UAE, and then prior to that, in the Arabian World Cup at Longchamp, mile and a quarter on the 2nd of October, on very soft ground, he finished 5th by 5 lengths, never really getting going, and then before then, the Group 1 Pre-Dragon at Longchamp for the Arabians over the mile and a quarter, finished 2nd by 3/4 length. The winner outgamed this horse, but he did get around the race course well. Like I said, when his dirt races are few and far between, but when he steps on it, he does well. He's 5 for 4 on the track. He has some hidden early speed if he wants to use it, which I think should be good. The speed really holds up on the dirt on World Cup night, so I think you want to use that. Just keep that in mind. So I'm going to use him here on the ticket. I think his second likeliest winner here is the 7-horse Shaheen. Won the Maktoum Challenge round 2 on the 3rd of February, very very nicely on the front end. Before the races at Abu Dhabi, though, on the turf, he just wasn't handling it there, the turf. But, when he comes to dirt, he really shows up better form. He's drawn well, has some forwardly pace. It wouldn't surprise me. We'll use his horse in the multi-race wagers also. But to recount my selection for the first from Meydan, it's the Group 1 Kahayla Classic. Let's take the 5-horse first class. Give kudos to 7 Shaheen, 579 TriCast trifecta, 5-7 in your multi-race. To the second race. The second race from Meydan, it is the Group 2 Godolphin Mile. It's a Group 2 event going for $1 million purse, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 14 horses entered to go the 1,600-meter journey or 1 mile on the dirt course. I'm going to take as a top selection here the number 13 horse, the 13 horse who is Royal Muse. Let's go 13-2-4 in your TriCast trifecta. 13-2-4 TriCast trifecta. That's my top 3 basically, but the top selection, the 13 horse Royal Muse, is 6-year-old gelding here. Bupat Shamir trains. Tango Shea gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came on Super Saturday World Cup preview day here at Meydan, 4th of March, a mile on the Group 3 Burj Nahar, and he finished 3rd by 2 lengths that day. And he just kind of stalked all the way around the race course. He couldn't catch Discover Island and Raib, who had to jump on him, but he got around the race course easily. It looked like he had some left in the tank. Probably giving it all tonight here on World Cup night with a better purse. I think he can get a good trip on the inside, and I think from a tracking trip, he should really get the job done. 2 back, he ran the Jebel Ali Port at Meydan, 7 furlong, 17th of February, and he finished 2nd by a half a length that day. He just stalked. He needed something more late, like an extra furlong, but again, he ran decently there. And then the handicap here at Meydan, 13th of January, 1 mile. He won by a nose that day from a tracking trip. He quickened up nicely, and he got the job done. A very good run. He likes this track. He's a good poster. It could be forwardly paced, which I like. I think he has a strong chance of winning, so I'm going to use him along with the 2-horse Bathrat Leon. This 5-year-old horse by Kazana here, Yoshito Yahagi trains this one, gets the jockey booking here of, hopefully I get his first name right, pardon me, my Japanese is horrible, I haven't been studying on it recently, but Ryushi Saki gets them out, there we go. The horse's most recent outing came in the King Abdulaziz Racecourse in Saudi, 6 3/4 furlongs in the Group 3 1351 sprint, and he won by a head that day, and from a tracking trip, he quickened up nicely, and he got the job done. A very, very good race. He is coming to dirt for the first time since November, shouldn't be a problem, should be forwardly paced, and I think get the job done. run. Two back at Hanshin in the Group 2 Hanshin Cup on Christmas Eve in Japan at Hanshin. 7 furlongs, very fast ground. He finished 4th by 3/4 of length that day, and he just kind of stalked. He needed that extra turn of foot late, but again, nothing bad about that run. And the Group 3 Mashino Stakes at Tokyo, 1 mile, 12th of November. He finished 3rd by half length. He handled the kickback that day. He had a little bit of a turn of foot. Again, nothing bad about that run. Off of some decent runs last time out, coming to Meydan here today, could be forwardly paced. Another good post draw. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets the job done. We'll use him in the place pot or the quad pot, whatever we decide to play here. But to recount my selection for the second from Meydan, it's the Group 2 Godolphin Mile. Let's take the 13 horse Royal Muse as a top selection. Give kudos to the 2 horse Barath Leon. 13-2-4 Tri-Cash Trifecta. 13-2 in your multi race. Let's get to the third race for the stayers now. The third race from Meydan, it is the Group 2 Dubai Gold Cup. It's a Group 2 event going for $1 million purse, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. 16 horses are entered to go 3,200 meters or 2 miles on the turf course. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the number 7 horse, the 7 horse Quick Thorn. Let's go 7-9-11 in your Tri-Cash Trifecta. 7-9-11 Tri-Cash Trifecta. Top selection 7 horse Quick Thorn. 6-year-old gelding by Nathaniel here. Hugh Morrison trains one. Ocean Murphy gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came on very soft ground, which he wasn't appreciative to at Ascot. 15th of October, 2 miles in the Group 2 British Champions Long Distance Cup, and he finished 5th by 10.5 lengths that day. And he was with him early on, but then completely stumbled out of it. Wasn't handling the soft going. It wasn't the day to win. Refreshing here, very fast ground, which he should absolutely adore, even off the bench going 2 miles. I think he's in a good spot to win. 2 back in the Group 1 Prix de Cadran at Longchamp, 2.5 miles, 1st of October. He finished 6th by 4.2 lengths, and he got outdistanced by the others that day. Again, he wasn't staying the drip. He didn't like the turf course. It wasn't a recipe for success. Throw that race out there. A lot of horses weren't handling the going that day also, so just keep that in mind. Then prior to that, in the Group 2 Lonsdale Cup at York, 2 miles on the 19th of August, he won by 14 that day, and he put on a show. He sat back early, slowly moved his way up, and when he got the job done, he took off clear. Very good run. His midsummer form wasn't bad at all. Before that, in the Group 2 Prix Maurice Daniel at Longchamp over the mile, 6 furlongs. He won by 1/4 lengths, all out. A little ground, a little softer than he probably wanted to, but he still took off clear. And then on good ground in the Henry II Stakes at Sandown over the 2, winning by 1/3 lengths. Again, his turn of foot over these 2-mile races have been very impressive. Coming here with fast ground, should get a good trim from the outside. He should definitely stay. At 12-1, I think he's loaded. So I'm going to use him along with the number 9 horse here, Siskeny, for William Buick and Godolphin. Most recently, the Natal Shiva Trophy over the mile 6. He won by 2 lengths that day, and from a tracking trip, he slowly moved his way up, and he won very easily. He's going to face his biggest challenge here going to the 2 miles today for the first time, but his form looks like he wants to stay forever. Before they ran the Wild Flower Stakes at Kempton, 1.5 miles on the 30th of November, and he finished 3rd by a neck, and he was with him early on. He weakened out of it. He came back late, but he still needed something more. Like I said, I just think the distance was just a little bit too short from there. And then soft ground in the Group 1 Prix von Bayern at Munich over the 1.5 miles. He finished 3rd by 12 lengths. His wheels are spinning. He just wasn't staying on the soft ground. Another horse should appreciate the fast ground, should really like to stay. At 5-2 with some recent form, I'll use him on the ticket also. But to recount my selection for the third from Meydan, it's the Group 2 Dubai Gold Cup. Let's take the number 7 horse Quick Thorn as a top selection. Give kudos to the 9 horse Siskeny. 7-9-11 Tri-Cash Trifecta. 7-9 in your multi race. To the 4th race now. The 4th from Meydan, it is the Group 1 Quoz Sprint. It's a Group 1 event going for a $1.5 million purse, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. 16 horses are entered to go 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the turf course. I'm going to go with the number 15 horse here, Ladies Church. Let's go 15-1-16 in your Tri-Cash Trifecta. 15-1-16 Tri-Cash Trifecta. Top selection of 15 horse, Ladies Church. 4-year-old filly by Churchill here. Johnny Murda trains this one. Ben Cohen gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 10th of February here in Meydan. 5 furlongs in the Group 2 Blue Point Sprint. And the horse finished second by a nose by Migas that day. And he sat back early. He really closed up well late, and he looked like he was going to get to Migas, who just had the jump on him late. But this horse, he ran decently. Refreshing here today. Should see a strong pace to close up with on the stand side, which I quite adore with this one. I think he can really run a good race, and I think he can find the other side of the horse. So a lot of these horses, when they find soft ground in Europe, they don't really run. He saw soft ground at the Curragh before that, 11th of September, 5 furlongs in the Group 1 Flying 5. He finished 17th by 9.5 lengths that day, and he was with them for a split portion early on, but then completely crumbled. He wasn't handling the soft going there, and then prior to that, in the Group 2 Sapphire Stakes at the Curragh, 5 furlongs, good ground, 16th of July, winning by a nose. He sat back early, saw a strong pace to close up with, and he did just that. He got there in nick of time, a very good run. Facing the boys shouldn't be a problem. She should get a good trip here today. She gets a little bit of a weight break. I'm going to use her at 12-1. I think your second likeliest winner here is the number 1 horse, who is Al Sahil. He's cutting back in trip. He's been running over the 7 and excelling here over the 7 at Meydan. Gets William Buick up. William Buick rode him last time out in that conditions race over the 7 on or that handicap here on the 4th of March, where he won by 4, and from a tracking trip he quickened up nicely. He got the job done. Before then, the Group 2 Al Fahidi Ford, he won by 4, and again, never really facing a challenger there. His races in Europe, again, when he saw soft ground, never got to it, but cutting back in trip, he'll see a good pace to close up from on the inside going. Watch out from 9-2, and also watch out for the number 16 horse, Al Dasim. This horse is only a 3-year-old here, but he's been excelling. He won the Nadal Sheema Turf Sprint by open lengths last time out, and won the Dubai Trophy before that by open lengths. For a 3-year-old to be running in these races and excelling, he's really been doing wonders. He does get a lot less weight as with him being a 3-year-old, only getting 122 pounds. The rest are carrying at least 130, if not a little more. So just watch out for this horse at 5-2 with some weight break. He could definitely do wonders, but he is facing his biggest challenge, so that's going to be his question today. But to recap my selection now for the 4th from Meydan, it's the Group 1 Quoz Sprint. We're going to take the 15-horse Ladies Church as a top selection, give kudos to the 1-horse Al Sahil and the 16-horse Al Dasim. 15, 1, 16 tri-cast trifecta. We'll use them all in the multi-race. Let's get to the 5th race from Meydan. It's a Kentucky Derby prep race. The 5th race from Meydan, it is the Group 2 UAE Derby. It's a Group 2 event going for a purse of $1 million, race for 3-year-olds here. We have a baker's dozen, 13 horses going to the starting gate, the distance of ground of 1,900 meters, or a mile 3/16 on the dirt course. I'm going to take the 3-horse Cairo as a top selection. Let's go 3, 13, 12 in your tri-cast trifecta. 3, 13, 12 tri-cast trifecta, top selection of 3-horse Cairo. 3-year-old colt by Quality Road. Aidan O'Brien trains one for Coolmore. Ryan Moore gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing, first off the bench, came in Ireland at Dundalk on the Poly track. 3rd of March, 1 mile in the Patent Stakes, and he won by 2 lengths that day. And at 30 cents a dollar, everybody and his mother knew he was going to win that day. He basically had an easy tracking trip. When he quick enough, the money was in the bank. It was an all-around easy race. Coming here to longer trip, which everybody's been questioning, I don't think it should be a problem. He should stay the trip well, and I think he can handle the dirt kickback to get the job done. 2 back, he ran the Group 2 Volin Stakes at Leopardstown, 7 furlongs yielding ground 15th of October, and he won by 2 1/4 lengths that day, and he sat back early. He got the lead, and he took off clear. A very, very good run for him there to end off the season as a 2-year-old. Before then, the group and the listed Star Appeal Stakes at Dundalk, 7 furlongs on the Poly track, 30th of September. He finished second by 2 1/4 lengths that day. He kind of stalked. The winner had the jump on him. He needed something more, but he didn't run half bad there. And then prior to that, in a maiden race at Curragh, 1 mile on the 27th of August. He won by a neck that day, 55 cents a dollar. He was dueling on the pace setters early on. And when he got the turn of foot, he took off clear. Very good race from there. Even his race before that, main race, the Curragh over the 6, he finished second by a head, and he was just a little bit too late, but he was closing up well. Coming here to dirt, he's bred for it, Quality Road, a decent dirt horse, decent miler, I thought. But, you could definitely get the mile and a quarter trip. At 5-2, I'm going to use this horse here. I think his second likeliest winner is the 13-horse Worcester for Bob Baffert and Frankie Dettori. The horse is still a maiden, but he's been running decently in Southern California. Most recently, 4th of February at Santini on mile 16th and Robert B. Lewis, where he finished third by 2 lengths. The 2 in front of him had the better jump than him, but he did get around the race course well. I think he won more ground there. Prior to that, in a main special over the 6.5 at Santa Anita, he finished second by 2 1/4 lengths over a shorter trip, which he's probably not bred for. He's bred for a mile and a quarter, mile and a half with Empire Maker on the with him being the sire there. But he stayed well. He quickened up a lot. Needed something more, but he ran decently there. And then on debut at Santa Anita, he was stupidly wide, but was closing up well late. Another horse getting to the mile 3/16. It's his preferred trip. I think he can finally find the maiden victory, so we'll use him here. And also the 12-horse Tall Boy for William Buick and Doug O'Neill was the winner of the UAE 2000 Guineas here a few weeks ago quite nicely. Before that, in the Los Alfuturity, the horse was just had a very troubled trip. Was wide, didn't break so well, and it just wasn't the day to win. And then before then, the main special weight over the 6.5 at Del Mar, he never really got going. He's another horse I think going around 2 turns would suit him well. 10-1, watch out for him. But to recap my selection for the fifth from Meydan, it's the Group 2 UAE Derby. Let's take the 3-horse Cairo. Give kudos to the 13-horse Worcester and the 12-horse Tall Boy. 13, 12, tri-cash, trifecta, use them all in that multi-race. So let's get to the sixth race. They're going to be dashing in that one. The sixth race from Meydan, it's the Group 1 Dubai Golden Shaheen. It's a Group 1 event going for a $2 million purse, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 16 horses going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the dirt course. My top selection here, I'm going to go take the number 11 horse. The 11 horse who is Sound Money. 11-5-3 in your tri-cash trifecta. 11-5-3 tri-cash trifecta. Top selection 11 horse Sound Money. 5-year-old horse by Flatter. Bupat Shamir trains. Miguel Barcelona gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came on Super Saturday, 4th of March here at Meydan. 6 furlongs in the Group 3 Mahab Al Shamal Stakes, the local prep race for this one, and he won by 2 3/4 lengths. And from a tracking trip, he saw the pace a little melt down there, which suited him well. He quickened up nicely, and he got the job done. Coming here today, he could set the pace, or he could come from a tracking trip like he did last time out. From an outside poster, I'd like to see him leave and get some good position. So if he's on the front end, it should be good. I think he get the good trip, and I think he can win. I think he has the North American speed to win here. 2 back, 17th of July at Saratoga, 7 furlongs, and allowance optional claimer. He finished second by 2 1/4 lengths that day. He was with the pace setters dueling early on. He got caught late, but he ran his heart out there. He came on with a 96 Spire speed figure, which isn't half bad at all there. And then late June or early June at Belmont, 6.5 in the Grade 2 True North. He finished behind probably the best sprinter in the country last year, or last 2 seasons, Jackie's Warrior. He finished second by 5 lengths. Jackie's Warrior nearly broke the track record. This horse just kind of stuck behind him and just wasn't catching him. But he was the best of the rest that day, coming home with the 96 Spire. And then on the slop at Belmont, 1 mile in the Grade 3 Westchester. He finished second by 5 lengths that day. Cody's Wish won next out, went on to win the Breeze Cup Dirt Mile later in the season. This horse just was, setting the pace and then just couldn't keep up. I do think the mile was just a little bit too long for him. He did win going a mile before that, but he had everything his own way going on the front end. In the Westchester, he went 108 and 3 3/4 on that sloppy track, which is not very good. But if he could slow it down to 3/4 today, finish at 108 and 3, I think he'd get the job done. At 8-1, I like him a lot. You can't throw out the number 5 horse here, who is Lemon Pop. He's a Japanese invader. Most recently, he ran over the mile in the Group 1 February Stakes, where he won by 1 1/4 lengths that day, and he took off clear from a tracking trip. Before that, in the Nagashi Stakes at Tokyo over the 7, again on the slow going, he won by a half length, again taking off clear. He has some early pace here. He's going to be bent to the ground, but watch out for him on the ticket, and also watch out for the number 3 horse, who is Hopkins for Bob Baffert. He's coming in from Southern California, but his races, haven't been half bad. He has some good tracking trips. He's run some fast speed figures. He's drawn well. Watch out for him picking up the pieces late. And also Switzerland. It wouldn't surprise me if he repeats here, but he's getting up there in age. But I do like that win in the Dubai Stakes a few weeks ago. But to recap my selection for the 6 from Meydan now, it's the Group 1 Golden Shaheen. Let's take the 11 horse Sound Money as a top selection. Give kudos to the 5 horse Lemon Pop and the 3 horse Hopkins. Where are we? 11-5-3 tri-cash trifecta. Use them all in the place pot or multi-race. Let's get to the 7th now. The 7th race from Meydan now. It is the Group 1 Dubai Turf. It's a Group 1 event going for a $5 million purse, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field here of 16 horses entered to go the 1,800-meter journey, or 1 mile and 1 furlong, 1/8 on the turf course. I'm going to take the 2 horse Danon Beluga as a top selection. I'm going to go 297 in your tri-cash trifecta. 297 tri-cash trifecta. Top selection 2 horse Danon Beluga for a colt by Heart's Cry. João Moreira comes in from Hong Kong to ride this horse. Most recently, they ran the horse in late November at Tokyo Racecourse, 1.5 miles in the Group 1 Japan Cup. This horse had a horrible trip. He got blocked in the lane, basically, shut off from a wide poster. He was wide throughout. He wasn't going to win, but, he just, had a horrible trip and then just was full of run. Couldn't get the good turn of foot. Couldn't get clear passing room. It just wasn't a day to win. Refreshing here to an 1,800-meter trip. Drawn low, has some early pace. I think he get a better trip, and I think he could win here today. Two back in the Group 1 Autumn 10 show stakes at Tokyo, 30th of October, the mile and a quarter. He finished third by 1/4 lengths, and he was closing up well behind Equinox, who's a very good horse. This horse had the turn of foot, wasn't going to catch Equinox, but he ran decently off the bench. And then in May, in the Group 1 Japanese Derby at Tokyo, a mile and a half on the 29th of May, he finished fourth by 2 1/4 lengths that day. And again, he was closing up well late, but I just don't think the mile and a half is his liking. Last time he ran the mile and eighth last February at Tokyo in the Group 3 Takimura Kinen Stakes, he won by 1.5 lengths. And again, he just passed his rivals quite easily. Refreshing here back to a mile and a furlong, hopefully with a good post draw. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets the job done. I think you also have to use the number 9 horse here, Nation's Pride for Godolphin, William Buick, Charlie Appleby, the whole group. Most recently, the Dubai Millennium over the mile and a quarter. He won by 1/4 lengths that day and basically won for fun. A very easy race, even with a high weight of 136 pounds, getting 10 less pounds today to only 126. Before that, they were just asking a little bit too much in the Brews Cup turf. They were trying to be like the Yabir the year before, coming from Belmont Jockey Club Derby to Brews Cup turf victor. He finished fifth by 3 3/4 lengths that day. He didn't break so well, and he never had the turn of foot. Before that, at Aqueduct, the mile and a half in the Jockey Club Derby, he won by 6 3/4 lengths that day, and he took off clear. That was a very good race for him stateside. Before that, won the Saratoga Derby quite nicely. His only subpar race was the Belmont Derby, where he was just wide around both turns. It wasn't Frankie's best ride. I know he's drawn wide from barrier number 10 of 12, but he didn't have to be. He could have saved some ground and he just wasn't getting there. Also, Classics Causeway won that day, basically walked in the front end. He's going to see a strong pace in front of him. He'll probably get over to get good position. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets the job done. And also the 7-horse Lord North, he's won this race twice already, last year in a dead heat. But since last year's run, his races in Europe last season weren't up to scratch. His best race was the 4th in the Eclipse at Sandown, July. Refreshed a few weeks ago in the Winter Derby, where he won quite easily on the front end. Coming here today, wouldn't surprise me at 6-1, but he is getting up there in age. I think the other two have a stronger chance of winning, but I'll use him on the quaddy or the late pick 4 here. But to recount my selection for the 7th from Meydan, now it's the Group 1 Dubai Turf. We're going to take the 2 horse Dan and Beluga as a top selection. We'll go 297, Tri-Cash Trifecta. We'll use all 3 of them in the multi-race. To the 8th race. The 8th race from Meydan now, it's the Group 1 Dubai Sheema Classic. It's a Group 1 event going for a $6 million purse, race for 3-year-olds here. 3-year-olds and upwards, shall I say. Field of 10 horses taking a stroll around the Dubai Meydan turf course. The distance of ground at 2,400 meters or a mile and a half on the turf course. I lost my train of thought in the middle of that. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the number 7 horse Equinox. I'm going to go 736 in your Tri-Cash Trifecta. 736 Tri-Cash Trifecta. Top selection 7 horse Equinox. This 4-year-old colt by Kitasan Black. Christophe Lemairie gets the mount. I know this horse is a short-priced horse, but he's been pretty perfect. Most recently on Christmas Day at Nakayama, mile 9/16 in the Group 1, Arima Kian stakes the Grand Prix. The horse won by 2 1/4 lengths, and basically from a tracking trip, when he quickened up, he took off clear to the salute of the crowd. It was an all-around good race, and if you watch the replay, it was exciting, the way the crowd reacted to him. It was a great run. The Arima Kian, if you don't know, is one of the, I believe, out of all the money spent or bet on races in the world, I think that might be the number 1 race that everybody bets on in the world. So it's absolutely crazy, and the way he won was impressive. To a longer trip for the first time in a little bit. 2 back in the Group 1 Tien Show Autumn Stakes to Tokyo, mile and a quarter, 30th of October. Again, winning by a length that day, and he had to be used a lot that day, going to over the shorter trip, but he got the job done, winning quite nicely. Don't think a mile and a quarter is his preferred trip. I think it's a mile and a half, but it was still a very good run there. And then before that, in the Tokyo Yoshun, the Japanese Derby at Tokyo, mile and a half on the 29th of May, he finished second by a neck behind Doe Deuce that day. This horse was stalking that day. He just kind of, just couldn't keep up there late, but he ran his heart out. And then prior to that, Nakayama in the Japanese 2000 guineas over the mile and a quarter, he finished second by a length. Again, he just wasn't getting the mile and a quarter trip. He wants to go a little longer. Before that, I went against lesser quality horses as a 2-year-old in the Tokyo Sports High Nisal Stakes. He won by 2 1/4 lengths, and he was much the best there. Back to a mile and a half, coming to Meydan, could be forwardly paced if he wants to. I think, even on his B day, he can win this race. I'm going to use it on the ticket. He's going to be a single in the multi-race for me. So to recount my selection for the 8th from Meydan, it's the Group 1 Dubai Sheema Classic. Let's take the 7 horse at Equinox. 736 Tri-Cash Trifecta. We'll single the 7 in the multi-race. Let's get to the featured 9th race now from Meydan. The big one. The featured ninth race from Meydan, it is the Dubai World Cup. It's a grade one. It's a Group 1 event going for a purse of $12 million, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field here of 15 horses entered to go to the main track, the dirt course, the distance of ground of 2,000 meters or a mile and a quarter on the main dirt course. My top selection, I'm going to take the one horse Algiers as a top selection. Let's go 147 in your tri-cash trifecta. 147 tri-cash trifecta. Top selection, one horse Algiers. This 6-year-old gun by Charmadal here. Simon Christopher trains one. James Doyle gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing, he took the Meydan route to the World Cup. 3rd of February locally, a mile 3/16 in the Group 2 Al Maktoum Challenge round 2, and he was a winner by 6 lengths that day. And again, easy tracking trip. He quickened up nicely in the front end, and he had the job done at the top of the lane. Kept going. An all-around good race, back to a 2-turn circumference race. Coming here off the bench to a mile and a quarter, which I absolutely adore that they give him the 2-month refreshing. I think he should be really fresh, and I think he get a good race here today. The wide post doesn't bother me because I think he could get over well with his forwardly pace early on. 2 back, he ran in the Maktoum Challenge round 1 at Meydan, 1 mile in the dirt 6th of January, and he won by 6 1/4 lengths. And again, from a tracking trip, he had the job done at the top lane. He quickened up nicely, and he was the best of the rest that day. A very good run there. And then back in the UK at Linkfield in the late autumn, a mile and a quarter in the Churchill Stakes. He finished second by a nose that day. He stalked, he had lead, he got caught late, but he didn't go down without a fight. He was very game to the wire there. And then in a listed 6 at Newmarket in late October over the mile and a quarter on soft ground, he ran horribly on the soft ground. He finished 6 by 14 3/4 lengths. He just wasn't getting into it there. And then a handicap of the mile 5/16 at York in October. He won by a length. And again, from a tracking trip, he ran quite nicely. Since coming to the UAE over the winter, he's really become a better horse. Watch out for him on the ticket. I think the 4-horse Country Grammar, who won this race last year, has a strong chance of repeating. And it's going to be Frankie's final mount most likely in the UAE for his career. He's on his farewell tour. But I have a strange feeling that Frankie's going to go on like a Share or Kiss farewell tour that's going to go on forever. But that's my personal opinion. But this horse, he ran most recently in the Saudi Cup where he ran his heart out, finished second by 3/4 length. He was very game closing to the wire, but he just couldn't catch the winner who had the jump on him. But again, he ran his heart out there. Prior to that, the San Antonio Stakes on Boxing Day at Santina, he won by 4 1/4 lengths, sitting back early, a little bit wide, but he took in clear late to get the job done. And then the Awesome again at Santina in late October, he finished second by 2 1/4 lengths that day. He had a little bit of a trouble trip. He was closing up well late, but he still needed something there. And then his races over the summer, he saw a flight line in the Pacific Classic where he wasn't going to catch him, and then he placed in the San Diego Handicap first off the bench. Like I said, he won this race quite nice last year. He's training well in Southern California, trained well locally since coming here after the Saudi Cup. I'll give him a shot on the ticket. And also watch out for the 7-horse Geoglyph for Christophe Lemairie. Most recently, they ran the horse at in the Saudi Cup where he finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths. And he had a little bit of a wide trip that day. I don't think he liked the 1-turn mile and a quarter. He's going to go to a 2-turn or 1-turn mile and 1/8. He's going to go to a 2-turn mile and a quarter today. Should settle well, and I think he could get the job done. In the Hong Kong Cup, he had a very just a little bit too far out of a trip there. And then before that, in Tenno Show Autumn, he was going to catch Dodus and Equinox, who are better horses. If he runs a race like he did in Japanese 2000 Guineas, where he actually beat Equinox, I think he gets the job done. Back to dirt, I'll give this horse a shot at 15-1 to possibly upset, but I think the other two are very likely winners. But to recap my selection now for the 9th from Meydan, it's the Group 1 Dubai World Cup. We're going to take the 1-horse Algiers as a top selection, give kudos to the 4-horse Country Grammar and the 7-horse Geoglyph. 147 Tri-Cash Trifecta, 147 in the multi-race to end it off. So good luck to all. Remember to follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world. Good luck, everybody.